ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Marine Corps Security Force Battalion, Kings Bay, Georgia, birthday ball celebration. Our Corps has a rich heritage distinguished by those who have carried its colors throughout history. A heritage maintained by those who wear the uniform today. Today, we celebrate our 240th birthday ceremony with a grand banquet and dancing. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as Chaplain Lieutenant Eric Walton, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy, leads us in prayer.
As you are able, let us pray. Holy God, we find it hard to contain our excitement as we gather this evening to celebrate the birth of the United States Marine Corps. Together we remember 240 years of rich history and proud tradition. Tonight we will have a chance to review and even reenact moments across the ages that define our ethos and identity. And with each era, with each uniform, with each battle, and with each victory, we recognize your hand of blessing. For 240 years you have blessed our Marines with hearts of courage and spirits of self-sacrifice. In light of recent events in Paris, we are all too aware of the forces still at work in our world, threatening lives and disrupting peace. And yet we stand in a room tonight filled with those ready to serve, willing to fight, capable to accomplish their mission. May our service play a part in providing protection and promoting peace. We thank you for our meal this evening, and God, as you have done for 240 years, we ask that you will continue to bless the United States Marine Corps. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Marines and sailors. As you enter this banquet hall tonight, you should have noticed that before us tonight stands an empty chair and a single table draped in black, signifying all of our fallen comrades who are not with us this evening because they have given the full measure of devotion to our country and to our beloved Corps. The single lighted candle reminds us of the flame of eternal life and that the memory of our fallen comrades will be with us always. The Purple Heart Medal is displayed to reflect the shedding of blood and the ebb of life in battle. The identification tags are blank, yet they could bear the name of any of us here tonight. Only a few Americans choose the dangerous and necessary work of fighting our nation's enemies. As a consequence of that choice, some have paid the ultimate price, joining the honor roll of heroes who built the noble legacy of our Corps. For those of us who carry on that legacy, it is our obligation to honor those fallen Marines. As Marines gather in celebration of our history, we gather in the shadows of greatness. Though our fallen can no longer participate in our traditions, they will always be a part of us and who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for a moment of silence for our fallen comrades. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, a message from the 38th Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Robert B. Miller, and the 18th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major Ronald L. Green.
Being All the United States Marines something better than
Being called the United States Marine is something earned, not given.
What made me want to be a Marine was wanting to be able to lead others, but also fight for my country, whether that be actually going into combat or just serving in a way that could help others.
We make Marines, we build teams, we fight and win.
These recruits are entrusted to my care. I will train them to the best of my ability. I will develop them into smartly disciplined, physically fit, basically trained Marines, thoroughly indoctrinated in love of corps and country. I will demand of them and demonstrate by my own example the highest standards of personal conduct, morality, and professional skill.
I, like the generals, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, while bearing the faith and allegiance to the same, and I obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me. I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation, according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the Second Lieutenant of the United States Marine Corps. So help me God. So help me God.
From the oldest post of our Corps here in Washington, D.C., and on the eve of our 240th birthday, the Sergeant Major and I want to wish Marines around the world a happy birthday. But more importantly, we hope each of you will have a chance to reflect on our history, remember those who have sacrificed, and reaffirm your commitment to the strengthening of our Corps.
This year also marks 100 years of making Marines at Recruit Depot Paris Island. Our Corps has seen many changes in the previous 100 years and throughout our history, but one thing that hasn't changed is these Marines' commitment to contributing to our great legacy.
Each year during our birthday celebration, we listen to the words of our 13th Commandant, General John A. LeHew. In his message, he says, our legacy is the eternal spirit which has animated our Corps from generation to generation. Marines, I want to reinforce this point. You are the embodiment of that legacy. It's the very foundation of who we are and what we will continue to be.
When we look back at the history of our Corps, we see countless examples of Marines contributing to our past. From our first amphibious raid in New Providence in the Bahamas back in 1776 to the historic Battle of Iwo Jima in 1945.
This year marks the 70th anniversary of the Battle of Iwo Jima, hallowed ground for all Marines. It was there, following 36 days of violent combat, where the world saw the warrior spirit and the will to win of the United States Marine.
In February 1945, as U.S. forces fought across the Pacific, their next objective was Iwo Jima.
The young men that I faced on this island were just like me. They were fighting for the Emperor. I was fighting to go home. I never felt anything but comfort as a rifle commander around my troops, because I knew how good they were, how brave they were.
I thank the veterans who sit here among us, and those who today are with us only in spirit.
We tell them that we love them. We honor them for what they did. We tell them we admire their courage. We tell them we still miss them, because we do.
The stories of Corporal Woody Williams and Gunnery Sergeant John Bassett highlight the fighting spirit of Marines at Iwo Jima.
During the day of February the 23rd, the same day the flag went up, the same day that I did the job that resulted in my receiving the Medal of Honor, two of those Marines who were protecting me died. They gave all they had and so much more than I did. And yet I'm the guy that's wearing the medal. And I have said I am just the caretaker of it. I don't wear it for what I did. I wear it for what they did.
5 years after the end of World War II, Marines showed their indomitable fighting spirit in Korea at numerous places. None more telling than the seawall at Incheon or the unbearable winter at Chosin Reservoir.
The weather was cold and got colder and colder while we were up there trying to get out of that reservoir area. It was about
1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when we started to get hit, and it wasn't North Koreans that was hitting us, it was China.
When the Chinese hit us, we hit back twice as hard. And that was our attitude. The Marines that were there, we didn't go there to face a peace treaty. We went in with the idea of winning the war, and we continued to fight right up to the very last round.
This year also marks the 50-year anniversary of the Marine Corps' first major offensive in Vietnam, Operation Starlight.
As soon as 8th Company landed, all you saw was explosions and pop, people shooting.
Starlight was the first big, tough battle that these young Marines had to face, and they were going up against a veteran enemy force. If there were any doubts about whether or not this rock and roll generation of Marines from the 1960s could fight, those doubts were raised by Operation Starlight.
Following Vietnam, our Corps benefited greatly from the experienced NCOs and officers who stayed in service and remained dedicated to improving the professionalism of the Marine Corps. The Marines they groomed refocused the Corps to a more expeditionary mindset, marked by numerous engagements throughout the 80s and 90s. After the attacks on September the 11th, Marines knew that there would be more to do in support of defending our homeland. With sustained combat operations in Afghanistan and Iraq, a new generation of Marines has built upon the Corps' remarkable heritage. Marines continue to prepare for any crisis and remain ready to deploy as the nation's expeditionary force in readiness.
Get on your mark! Get the other cannon! MLK! Go, Paul!
Sergeant Major and I are reminded daily of our obligation to support and contribute to the legacy of our Corps. These recruits here at Parris Island, like those at San Diego, will soon earn their Eagle Globe and Anchor. Who knows, maybe amongst them is the next Gunnery Sergeant John Basilone or Corporal Woody Williams.
Those Marines became who they are because of dedicated squad leaders and platoon sergeants trained to win. We must continue that transformation. Continue the professional development of those Marines, so that when the nation requires men and women of action, they will summon the courage and tap into our great legacy to accomplish the mission, no matter what the odds.
We are faithful to each other, to be true to each other.
All Marines seem to be out of the same mold. When the time comes, they'll always be ready. They are able. I'm just so proud to be a Marine.
When we come certain standards and being faithful to those standards and to each other is pretty much what Simplify is. Who do you fight for? Who do you really fight for? I love this God, country, Corps. No, it's the unit, the guy. You fight for the Corps first. I don't care what anybody says. God may come second. Country can come third. But you fight for the Corps.
Happy birthday, Marines. Wherever you are, deployed in a foreign land facing our nation's foes, at sea with our Navy shipmates underway, training with family and friends celebrating our birthday. We must remain ready for that next fight, wherever and whenever it is. And we must continue to uphold the legacy of those that have gone before. And we remain Semper Fidelis.
We join all Marines throughout the world in paying special tribute to those Marines of a different era and a different uniform who have defined and confirmed the highest traditions of our Corps. The uniform pageant is a tradition that dates back to the 1920s. It is a reminder of our history and reflects upon the high standards of excellence in combat and in garrison that Marines have built since 1775. appointed as the first commandant and first commissioned officer of the Corps, would start quickly recruiting these seagoing soldiers at taverns and public places throughout the city of Philadelphia, including the now legendary Tun Tavern. On March 3rd, 1776, Captain Nicholas and 268 Marines stormed ashore at New Providence Island in the Bahamas. For the first time in American history, and definitely not the last, the Marines had landed and the situation was well in hand. In 1812, America would enter a second conflict with England, which many would call our Second War of Independence. Over the course of the next 3 years, Marines would serve well both aboard naval ships during numerous engagements at sea and on land, serving alongside fellow soldiers and sailors in engagements against the British. The Marines at Bladensburg would fight valiantly against 15 times their number in British regular, being the last Americans to withdraw from the field. When the British had captured the capital, they began burning government buildings. Legend has it that the home of the Commandant of the Marine Corps and the Marine barracks were spared out of respect for the fighting prowess displayed by the Marines earlier that day. The years after the Civil War are known to military historians as the quiet years, but not for America's Corps of Marines. During those so-called quiet years, Marines made more than 300 overseas landings to protect American lives and property overseas. Germans are less than 30 kilometers from Paris in June 1918. After a year of guard duty, the French are in full retreat, and the Marines are finally allowed to the front. June 5th was a blistering hot day. You could see the heat rising from the wheat fields as Germans were approaching. At 800 meters, Marines laid down an accurate rifle fire, stopping the Germans' advance at a place called Belleau Wood. On 16th, Marines assaulted the center of German resistance, and so fierce did Marines fight that the German soldiers gave us the name London or Devil Dog. On November 1918, the Marines sustained more casualties than the entire Corps had suffered in the preceding 143 years, a grim 11,366 Marines. Japan attacks Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and the world was once again at war. The Marines would be on the sharp end against the Japanese in the Pacific Theater. On 7 August 1942, the old breed of the 1st Marine Division landed on Guadalcanal, the first U.S. offensive of World War II. Marines continue to demonstrate their amphibious expertise in places such as New Georgia, Tarawa, Saipan, Peleliu, Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and many other Japanese-held islands that would fall to the Marines' assault across the Pacific. In 1918. Since 1918, women have answered the call to serve proudly in the United States Marines, and the role of women in the Marines has evolved and expanded. All women Marines can look forward to the future proudly, while never forgetting the women who made their future possible. In 1918, the Secretary of the Navy allowed women to enroll for clerical duties in the Marine Corps. Officially, Opa May Johnson is credited as the first woman Marine. Johnson enrolled for service on August 13, 1918. During that year, some 300 women first entered the Marine Corps to take over stateside clerical duties for battle-ready Marines needed overseas. Established in February of 1943. June 12, 1948, Congress passed the Women's Armed Service Integration Act and made women a permanent part of the regular Marine Corps. In 1950, the women reserves were mobilized for the Korean War, and 2,787 women proudly served. In June of 1950, North Korean forces crossed the 38th parallel and attacked South Korea. Within 2 weeks, the 1st Provisional Marine Brigade set sail. Landing in the Busan perimeter, Marines used the first helicopters in battle. By 15 September, the Marines landed at Incheon and 13 days later had retaken Seoul. In November, the Chinese entered the war and made the mistake of trapping the 1st Marine Division at the Chosin Reservoir. Marines streamed down the road from Udon carrying their dead as well as their wounded. The Marines' fighting spirit was proclaimed to the world by General Oliver Smith when he proclaimed, "We are not retreating, we are just attacking in a different direction." Began arriving in Da Nang, South Vietnam in early 1965. That November would be the first of many birthdays we would celebrate in that Asian conflict. Over the next 10 years, the 1st and 3rd Marine Divisions, as well as 2 regimental landing teams from the 5th Marine Division, fought the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese in places like Da Nang, Hue City, Khe Sanh, and Dang Hai. At the height of the war, the Corps' strength in Vietnam would increase to over 86,000. Nearly 13,000 Marines would lose their lives, and over 50,000 would be wounded. Vietnam would become the longest war in Marine Corps history. In August 1990, the news of an Iraqi invasion into Kuwait made the headlines. Shortly after, the National Command Authority would send the often heard signal, send in the Marines. 90,000 Marines from bases and Marine Corps Reserve centers throughout the country would mobilize to the Middle East region to preserve world freedom. In January of 1991, equipped with the latest Kevlar helmets and body armor, and uniformed in desert-specific combat clothing, the Marines would spearhead the operation called Desert Storm. Training, technology, and most of all, esprit de corps, the invaders were subdued in a mere 100 hours. Battalion received its first Navy Master-at-Arms in order to support our increased security requirements with the Strategic Weapons Facility Atlantic's vitally important mission. We truly represent team in all of its essence, starting at the lowest level with Marines and sailors standing duty side by side as integral members of the Marine Corps Security Force Battalion. As we celebrate 240 years of dedicated service, we pause to reflect on the innumerable contributions of our sea service partners. For without the United States Navy, we could not have been successful. The sturdy sailors of the amphibians that took us ashore and the platforms that covered us with naval gunfire, to the Seabees working miracles of construction for us while under fire, the chaplains comforting our dead and wounded, and the officers and sailors of the Medical Corps, we salute you with gratitude and respect and recognize the inseparable partnership of the United States Navy and the United States Marine Corps team. Have increasingly required the intervention of our nation's armed forces. The fulfillment of John A. LeJeune's prophetic message of 1921 that those Marines will be found equal to every emergency in the future. Our present-day Marines have participated in countless humanitarian operations around the world, including Operation Restore Hope in Somalia, Operation Provide Comfort in Iraq, and Operation Allied Forces in Kosovo. Military operations to combat international threats have brought Marines to the front door of terrorism to disarm insurgents in Iraq and to hunt down terrorists and eliminate their safe havens in Afghanistan. Tonight, Marines continue to serve in every corner of the globe. They are alert and watchful in remote fighting positions, and they are constantly standing guard against threats to the country and her interests. Centuries, America's Corps of Marines have remained true to its motto, Semper Fidelis. Excellence and readiness in peacetime, valor and indomitable will in war, these are the hallmarks of your United States Marines. ceremony you're about to witness into the Marine Corps Drill Manual. The line of escorts for tonight's ceremony, composed of Marines of Marine Corps Security Force Battalion, are led by Captain Chad Berger, Company B, Platoon Commander.
Lieutenant Colonel Richard Alford, for honors to Brigadier General Julian D. Alford, and remain standing for the march on of the colors, the national anthem, and the entry of their traditional birthday cake.
Let's mount! March! Julian! Halt! Order! Charlie! Ready, strip! Ready, two! Ready! Side step! March!
November 1st, 1921, John A. LeHew, 13th Commandant of the Marine Corps, directed that a reminder of the honorable service of the Corps be published by every command to all Marines throughout the globe on the birthday of the Corps. Since that day, Marines have continued to distinguish themselves on many battlefields and foreign shores in war and peace. On this 240th birthday of the Corps, therefore, in compliance with the will of the 13th Commandant, Article 38, United States Marine Corps Manual, edition 1921, is republished as follows.
On November 10, 1775, a Corps of Marines was created by a resolution of Continental Congress. Since that day, many thousand men have borne the name Marine. In memory of them, it is fitting that we who are Marines should commemorate the birthday of our Corps by calling to mind the glories of its long and illustrious history. The record of our Corps is one which will bear comparison with that of the most famous military organizations in the world's history. During 90 of the 146 years of its existence, the Marine Corps has been in action against the nation's foes. From the Battle of Trenton to the Argonne, Marines have won foremost honors in war and in the long eras of tranquility at home. Generation after generation of Marines have grown brave in war in both hemispheres and in every corner of the 7 seas, that our country and its citizens might enjoy peace and security. In every battle and skirmish since the birth of our Corps, Marines have acquitted themselves with the greatest distinction, winning new honors on each occasion until the term Marine has come to signify all that is highest in military efficiency and soldierly virtue. This high name of distinction and soldierly repute, we who are Marines today have received from those who preceded us in the Corps. With it, we also receive from them the eternal spirit, which has animated our Corps from generation to generation and has been the distinguishing mark of the Marines in every age. So long as the spirit continues to flourish, Marines will be found equal to every emergency in the future, as they have been in the past, and the men of our nation will regard us as worthy successors to the long line of illustrious men who have served as soldiers of the sea since the founding of the Corps.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is customary at Marine Corps birthday celebrations worldwide for Marines to cut a traditional cake in celebration of the birth of our illustrious Corps. Traditionally, regardless of location, Marines pause to observe their birthday by sharing a cake, a holiday meal, and a few war stories. A sword is used to cut the cake as a reminder that we, as a band of brothers, are committed to carrying the sword so that our nation may live in peace. The first slice of cake of the Marine Corps birthday is presented to our guest of honor, Brigadier General Julian D. Alford. The next piece of cake is given to the oldest and youngest Marines present, symbolizing the experience and youthful spirit that are hallmarks of our Corps. The oldest Marine present is Lieutenant Colonel Richard H. Pitchford. He was born. He was born November 1st, 1969 in Norfolk, Virginia. He was enlisted in the Marine Corps in June of 1989 and was commissioned in 1996. He is currently assigned as the commanding officer of Marine Corps Security Force Battalion, The passing of the cake from the oldest to the youngest Marine symbolizes the passing of history and traditions to the next generation. The youngest Marine present is Lance Corporal Jonathan A. Pelletier from Vernon, Connecticut. He was born on October 27, 1996. He enlisted in the Marine Corps on September 8, 2014, and is currently assigned to Company A, Marine Corps Security Force Battalion, Kings Bay, Georgia.
These are
Color guard, carry, cover. Detail, attack,
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the retiring of the colors, the march off of the official party, and remain standing for the flag of Acres Away and the Marine 10.
Present! So! Color guard, forward, march!
Pacific Island after campaign of World War II. By 23 February, only 4 days into the month-long battle, Marines seized the island's most prominent terrain feature, Mount Suribachi. When the flag was raised to signify that the island had been secured, a war correspondent, Joe Rosenthal, took a photograph that would forever immortalize the sacrifices Marines have made since 1775. Ladies and gentlemen, the Marines in front of you serve as a reminder to us of our heritage and the legacy of the Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, the commanding officer of Marine Corps Security Force Battalion, Kings Bay, Georgia, Lieutenant Colonel Richard H. Richard.
How we doing tonight? Okay, just for clarity, I'm not really the oldest Marine president. Just want to make that comment known. Sergeant Major made me the oldest Marine president. Hey, just a couple of short comments from me, and then I'll ask General Alford to join me up here, and I'll do my best to introduce him. And so I'm sure I won't get there, but we'll get on with it. But before I do that, I think we all understand that something of this nature, you don't celebrate 240 years without some planning and some preparation and some hard work. So I'm just going to hit some of the wave tops of folks. First off, appreciate the band. They make it every year, and thanks for them coming. Gunnery Sergeant Dalrymple. All year long to make this happen. First Sergeant Parks, our trusted narrator, he makes it every year. First Sergeant Luella, Staff Sergeant Estes, Master of Ceremonies. So all the participants, all the escorts, the cake detail, the pageant, I won't get into them all by name, but absolutely make it special. Some noteworthy folks, Sergeant Brookshire, Corporal Moore, and Lance Corporal Lewis. None of this could have been possible without all them. And then Sergeant Major Chabot didn't want any credit, but third one of these he's done. The last one of these he'll have an opportunity to do with this battalion, and he puts his heart and soul into it every year, and I appreciate it. We've got a couple of special guests here tonight, and there's more throughout the room that I won't recognize, but appreciate the support from Swiftland. Captain Jones joining us, his lovely wife Sue. Thank you for being here. We've got a member of the Joint Staff, and Lieutenant Colonel Dave Wallace, and a 3-6 alum with his beautiful bride Hope joining us, and appreciate all the special guests we have tonight. So, our guest of honor, General Alford. General Julian D. Alford is here with his lovely bride Jennifer. Sir, thanks so much for coming down. If you'll join me up here, I'm just going to say a couple of things as you're in stride, and then I'll turn it over to you. So, many of you know General Alford, many of our officers through TBS. When you come in at TBS, he has served in 5 different infantry battalions, and that's no easy stretch. He's led in multiple combat operations to include Operation Just Cause, Desert Storm, Desert Shield. He commanded 3-6 in OIF and OEF, Afghanistan first and later in Iraq, and he's commanded at all levels. Truly, I believe one of the great warfighters in our Marine Corps, and he'll probably cut me off at that. So he's currently commanding the Warfighting Lab, and he's responsible for developing what the Marine Corps of the future will look like. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, General Alford.
Well, happy birthday, Kings Bay. You rock. We got a little spirit in this room tonight. I like it, right? So, first off, this is my 4th ball this year, so it looks like it's going to be the best one too. So, I've been in the Marine Corps for 30 years, and been to a lot of birthday balls and a lot of parties. But I tell you, that Iwo Jima racing right there, that was cool. So, you know, Patriot 6, you're a battalion commander. You know, we served together both in Afghanistan and Iraq back a few years ago. And Rich, Amos, thank you for having us down, me and Jennifer, and it's good to see a lot of our old friends that are here. So Major Tanner, who is a warrior. Dave Wallace, it's great to see you, and serve together in combat. Gunnery Sergeant Bone, me and the Gunnery Sergeant served together at Paris Island way back and made Marines together. And it's great to see him and many others. So again, thank you. The birthday ball, the Marine Corps birthday ball. You know, why do we celebrate this day like no other service? You know, think about it. Why is this a unique holiday for warriors? This holiday is so special to us. It's almost like a religious holiday for Marines, if you think about it. You know, we celebrate this day because the Corps is the most loyal, most feared, most revered, most professional fighting force the world's ever known. And let me just take a few minutes and talk about, you know, what it really means to be a Marine. The reason that America really believes that we are special. So over the years, I've collected quotes, and I'm going to read you a few quotes as I go through this, and then we'll talk about it. And I've saved these, and I've sat down and put them down on paper here about a month ago. But the unique thing about what I'm getting ready to go through is most of these quotes were made by non-Marines. That's an important point. So here we go. Marines have a history. They fought in every major and minor engagement in which the United States has ever been involved. Marines are the best that this nation has to offer. Marines have a tradition. Marines have a tradition. They do not surrender. They do not leave the dead on the battlefield. Marines have honor. Marines die for honor. Hell, the Marines guard the president, for God's sakes. Marines are about the most particular breed of human being you will ever witness. They treat their service as if it were some kind of cult. They plaster their emblem on almost everything that they own. Marines worship the Commandant almost as if he were a god. I like this one. Marines make weird animal noises like a band of savages. Marines fight like rabid dogs at a drop of a hat, just for the sake of war. Marines are the cockiest sons of bitches I've ever known. Most have the foulest mouth and drink well beyond a man's normal generally speaking, the Marines that I've come in contact with are the most professional soldiers and the finest men that I've ever had the pleasure to meet. I like Marines because Marines are serious about their business. They're not a social club or a fraternal organization, and they do not pretend to be one. They are a brotherhood of warriors. Nothing more, nothing less, pure and simple. A brotherhood of warriors. Marines are street fighters. They exude the warrior spirit. They don't have the word lose in their vocabulary. They exist to close with and destroy the enemy. There's only two kind of people who understand Marines, and that is Marines and their enemy. All else. I like this one. The Marine Corps has rules for gunfighting. When in doubt, fix bayonets, empty the magazine, throw all your grenades, and charge the enemy. To observe a Marine is inspirational. To be a Marine is exceptional. The Marine Corps is a military organization, but it is much more. The Corps is an elite society, a divine brotherhood, and being a Marine is almost spiritual. Entry into the calling of the Corps, for most, earning the title of Marine is closely akin to becoming a priest. Yet the ethos and the culture of the Marines is simple. They are combat warriors. And their unique Corps, grown men speak openly of their brotherly love for their fellow Marine. They share a bond, a love, a dedication, and loyalty that no earthly circumstance can ever shadow. It is their Corps, their elite brotherhood, that matters most to them in life. Some say that Marines are different. The Army has soldiers, the Navy has sailors, the Air Force has airmen. But only the combat-oriented Marines bestow the name of their service upon each and every member of their brotherhood. Regardless of rank, the Marine Corps has Marines, period. So, all of these quotes here that I went through, they're true, because we live up to them as individuals, as buddy pairs, as fire teams, as squads, as platoons, as companies, battalions, and on up. That's who we are. The Marines have fought and won time and again, and that is our legacy. We have a legacy of victory. We do not lose. Each Marine, past and present, has entered more than just a service. We become, and we will always remain, part of a mystical fellowship of valor. That's what being a Marine is all about. That's why we celebrate tonight. You know, they say commitment to our Corps, and that's right, our Corps is all that matters to a Marine. So think about that tonight as you celebrate the 240th birthday. You know, we draw our strength from our brothers and sisters that sit around us. In return, that strength and that legacy lies in the collective will of each individual Marine. And we have many, both past and present, here with us tonight. No other service is quite like that. That's why some call us a Corps. We glory in our traditions, right? But really, simply being a Marine is what we value most, and that's who we are. So that's why we celebrate tonight. That's why I'm so proud to be standing here and be called a U.S. Marine and be amongst Kings Bay, Georgia Marines tonight. So as I wrap up here, as we gather here tonight, what I challenge you to do is reflect on your time in the Corps. And some of you, it's been a very short time. Some of us, a very long time. But reflect on who you are as a Marine. That's why we gather every year. Reflect on past birthdays. And us guys that have been around, guys and gals that have been around a while, that's what we do. We reflect on past birthdays. We think about the good and the bad. So I'm going to close with a story. 10 years ago last week, on November 10th, 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines was in the attack in a place called Alford, which is on the Syrian border in Iraq. And the operation Steel Curtain. We launched the attack on November 5th, and we were 5 days into the attack, and we were killing the enemy on a daily basis. I got a radio call from my regimental commander. He says, Dale, I want you to consolidate your battalion online. We were in a city. Firm up your position. It was about noon. And we're going to have a birthday meal. I'm thinking, oh, it's crazy, right? What's he talking about, right? I'm going to eat another MRE. But second log, a guy named Boomer Milstead, the CG, he flew in 646 helicopters, came in behind the battalion. They landed, and Marines from the air wing came out, and they delivered a steak, a baked potato, and a near beer to every Marine in the battalion. And on November 10th, about noontime, we had a birthday meal. And then we all got on the radio, and I called the Patriot 6, and I said attack. And we went back into the attack on November 10th. 15 minutes later, your battalion commander gave me a call. Lance Corporal Swain was moving down an alleyway between two narrow buildings. He stepped on a pressure plate and it took the top of his head off. The platter charge was on the side of the building. On November 10th, Lance Corporal Swain gave the ultimate sacrifice for this country and its Corps. So as tragic as that story is for us here tonight, think about it. When that young Marine died that day, Lance Corporal Swain, and his final hours in his life, he was with his best friends, he was with his brothers, and he just celebrated the birth of his Corps. So tonight, I want to say thank you for all that you do on a daily basis. You're on the wire, you're on the line. I know what you do. It's an important job what you do. And soon, many of you will be in an infantry battalion. And just think about a week ago today. This is not over. We're in the beginning of a long war, and we will win. And the Corps will rise in this war.
Get up!
So hopefully tonight you'll spend some time. You'll have a beer. You'll tell a few stories. That's what I want you to do. I want you to reflect. That's what the birthday's about. And finally, my last comment I want to say tonight is I want to especially thank the warrior families of our Corps that stand beside our Marine on a daily basis during these very tough times that we ask you to do this. And tougher times to come, I do predict. I do dread. So thank you for what you do. There's no greater patriot serving our nation than a Marine spouse and a Marine family. So happy birthday, Marines. Thank you for having me. God bless you and Semper Fidelis.